Hey everybody, it's Chris Bumray here again for JoBlo at TIFF with a review of Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. So in this one, Detective Benoit Blanc is back and he travels to a remote island in Greece to solve a murder involving a reclusive tech billionaire played by Edward Norton. Now, Knives Out, the original that is probably going to go down as one of TIFF's biggest success stories ever. You see, the film was considered a risky gamble in its time, but the movie proved to be a sensation upon its first screening. And in the end, Knives Out was a smash hit at the box office that Netflix, who snapped up the rights to the series from Lionsgate, has turned into what's bound to become their first real box office franchise. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, is bigger and perhaps even more brilliantly written than the first, sporting a tremendous cast that's led by Daniel Craig and Janelle Monáe. If Glass Onion suffers at all, it's that we go into it expecting a twisty murder mystery, while the original took us by surprise, as it was so unique. It was such a sensation that it made the genre hip again, taking it out of the parlor rooms of an Agatha Christie mystery and modernizing it. More than anything, it was the rare adult movie that played well on the big screen, and even though this will have a theatrical component, I wager more people will see this streaming than they will in theaters, which is too bad. Because Johnson, clearly working with a large budget this time, has made a lavish murder mystery that pays tribute to one of his often cited influences, the 1970s whodunit The Last of Sheila. The movie smartly uses the pandemic as a jumping-off point, explaining the move to Greece, where Edward Norton's reclusive tech billionaire's inner circle has been summoned. He wants them to play a murder mystery game, and Blanc has been invited to tag along. For the very bored detective who spent most of the pandemic sulking in a bathtub, the trip proves to be a welcome distraction, and it's not long before he realizes he's amongst another rogues gallery full of folks with secrets to keep. There's Dave Bautista as a dopey men's rights activist, but he isn't portrayed as especially hateful, I should note that, who's big on Twitch, with Madelyn Cline, his trophy girlfriend named Whiskey. Kate Hudson, in a hilarious performance, plays a pea-brained fashion mogul with Jessica Henwick, her harried assistant, while Kathryn Hahn is a would-be politician and Leslie Odom Jr. is Norton's very busy number 2. Everyone here is brilliant, but two of the cast members utterly steal the show. One is Edward Norton, who hasn't been this loose in years and sends up the so-called genius innovator type to perfection, with a particular flair for malapropisms. He would dominate the film were it not for Janelle Monáe, who initially comes off as low-key but quickly emerges as perhaps the most impressive player in the whole movie. That said, I can't tell you why she's so brilliant. The less known about her role, the better off you're going to be and the more you're going to enjoy the movie. As for Daniel Craig, once again, Blanc is primarily an observer, with the plot revolving around the friends, but he does get more screen time than he did in Knives Out, and certainly gets a much more extensive wardrobe, with him sporting some pretty unique looks in this film. We do learn a little bit more about Blanc this time, and I expect that as the series goes on, Johnson will drop more clues, making him less of an enigma as time goes by. Once again, he's heroic, with more of an interest in justice than any kind of personal reward, and his chemistry with Monáe is as strong as it was with Ana de Armas. Johnson has a knack for casting, but I imagine that given how brilliant his writing is, every actor in Hollywood wants to get the chance to speak his dialogue. Playing in a much bigger sandbox this time, Johnson can't resist the urge to go a little bit bigger, with the climax taking advantage of that big old Netflix budget. The 139-minute running time is perhaps a little indulgent, but after a bit of a slow start, things move along at a nice pace. It takes a while for us to settle into the mystery, but once the key players get to Greece, the film is off to the races and doesn't let up until a familiar Beatles song plays on the soundtrack. And if you know the title of this movie, I think you'd probably guess what it is. One thing worth noting is the impressive production design, with a set that's the actual Glass Onion of the title being something that the great James Bond production designer Ken Adam would have been proud of. The score by Nathan Johnson is also excellent and peppered with some unique needle drops, and the movie is jam-packed with cameos that hopefully no one spoils. While I probably have to see Glass Onion again before deciding whether or not it totally measures up to the original, it's still a blast from start to finish. One thing's for sure, no one is going to walk out of this not wanting to see more Benoit Blanc films. I give this one a very strong 8 out of 10.